Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. A lot of us going through challenges in life, and sometimes we're reluctant to ask for help, but change is not going to happen unless somebody walks a journey with you. And it could be you're on your own journey struggling with something. It could be you and a significant other. And we've got somebody today that can help with all of that. Many different programs looking at the coaching side of things. And we're going to dig into those today. Her practice is Counseling and Shifting Perspectives Group, and she's Yvonne Lee, and she is with us. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's good to have you here. This is a lot of the stuff people don't talk about or are afraid to really express it. And that goes into challenges like anger management, substance abuse, couples counseling. I want to focus on one thing I saw on your website. So I'm pivoting over to this direction for this moment.
Okay.
Breach of trust. Breach of trust is something that you counsel people on. How do you define that?
Well, breach of trust specifically is one of the laws down here in South Carolina. So, like if somebody steals something or takes an item from a store and they are charged, then it falls under our diversion program. So that's actually one of the diversion program charges that can happen sometimes, and they refer to it as a breach of trust. You've been trusted working in this store, this business, whatever, and you breach that trust with that company. So my discussion then with whatever client I may have is, do you understand the ramifications of breaching that trust, what it costs the store, the community, the next worker within that company?
Now, you said diversion program, and I see that on your website too. How do you define that?
Specifically, it's under the pre-trial program. So it's a program I had never heard of until I moved down here in South Carolina. And it's for people who have first offenses, minor offenses, not like a felony. And can be anything from a weapons charge to substance use, to anger management, saying they got into a fight, or like if you jump somebody.
Sure.
And because it's a first charge, the court wants to give them an opportunity to clean their record. And I love that. I love the idea about it. I learned of it while I was doing my practicum and internship. And I thought, what an awesome program that you have an opportunity when you made a wrong choice, made a mistake, just got swept up in the moment, that you can take a step back and learn from it. And I love that one of the parts of the program is to take counseling classes. You are required to address what you did and the impact that it had on you, and whatever that looks like between yourself and that counselor. So having heard of that program, I was like, I'm very interested in doing that and helping people take a step back, a redo, if you will. And we know that's not always possible in life, that you get a chance to get a redo when you make a choice.
Wow. So with the diversion program, it sounds like in South Carolina, that is a requirement in many regards, depending on what the charge is and the situation. Am I hearing that right?
Not a requirement. It is an option, though. So it's if you are chosen, so it does depend on the charge, the severity of the charge. But if you are given that opportunity, your lawyer has to request it of you, and then you apply to the program. And if what you've been charged and what the case is fits under the requirement, then you are given that opportunity. Now, it comes at a fee. It is definitely going to be a charge. Sometimes you have to make restitution to the person or company that you might have offended based on what you did. But again, it's really just about, you get a chance to take responsibility and autonomy to make right what you did wrong. And that's not an opportunity people get all the time.
Now,
It's an awesome program.
Within these programs, are they group classes, and that's the way it's done?
They can be. They can be group classes. It depends on how fast they're coming in. So if you get several people and their charge happens to be weapons education, you can make that a group class so that everybody can get it done at one time. That allows the court as well to clear up their program because multiple people can get done. But if it happens to be that maybe you have one person that has anger, another person a breach of trust, so on, substance use, then it can be individual also to satisfy the needs of the courts.
Wow. So within that, you're looking for individuals or want individuals to know that you have these programs available. Would it also be municipalities that they need to be aware that you offer these programs?
What do you mean by municipalities?
Let's say states. How do they? How is it assigned to an individual that may have been charged with something?
That's a good question. So as far as I understand about the program, because I don't deal with the court side, it would
Gotcha.
come to me through the person who runs the program attached to that court, and then a request would be put to me. I am not yet, um, excuse me, contracted with any particular court. I'm still attempting to, but I offer the program. But as far as I understand, if the attorney is able to make that case and their client is chosen for the program, then that program determines what agency in that county is outfitted and chosen, contracted with them, if you will, to take on this person. And then how many classes there will be, what those sessions will be, and what you will attend to depends on that charge and the agreement between yourself and whoever sent that client to you.
So that doesn't come under your guidelines in terms of the number of classes that must be attended. That's already determined, I guess, between the attorney, the client, and or the court.
I would imagine so. So
Wow.
again, it comes down to the severity. So I offer several classes based on the severity. A basic class for anger management might be 4 sessions at an hour for each session to an hour and a half. But if their charge, if the actions of the charge were more intense, then I might say, okay, I'm going to make this a 6 to 8 week class. Because I feel like there might be more issues that need to be addressed. So that could be longer. And depending on the severity, because that's what I offer, then that person who's making the referral to me would choose which amount of sessions they think were best.
You got a lot going on. You
I try
really
to,
do.
yes.
Yeah.
People
From
need help in the community.
people need help. And you know what? As I'm finding today, hearing in my circles that it's hard to find help. A lot of counselors are
Absolutely.
have a full full list of sessions. Some
Mhm.
don't take on any new patients or
Mhm.
clients. Now that's the diversion program. You also offer individual counseling as well, correct?
I do, yes.
Tell us about
Um,
that. What different areas? And that includes couples counseling, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely, it does. Specifically, I offer premarital and marriage because I am a person who is on their second marriage. And I understand the work that goes into marriage. I am blessed to have gone through the different stages of marriage, having been with my husband now for 29 years, though married for not that long. I've been married in 2012, so just 12 years. But there's so many changes, and we oftentimes we go into marriage without a real understanding of what that entails and all that that means and the changes that you're going to go through. So it is important to me to do premarital and marriage, but individually there's a lot that people are going through today. Honestly, since COVID, we've noticed the changes that people are going through, not just children, which we've recognized in the schools and how attentive kids are and how they responded when they came back to class, but people. People were more isolated during COVID in a way that just it has not gone back to what it was before. We've gotten used to being online and talking through these platforms and these social medias, and it has changed how people converse. It's changed even the expectation of relationships and what they look like. So people are going through various stages of anxiety. There are very many people going through depression. There are people who are just confused about what their next step is going to be because the job market changed as well. So what people were looking for before, their expectation is not the same. Um, there's so many different issues people are dealing with, and they feel alone in it because we were all sheltered and separated. And we have not gotten back to a place of being out and being in classes. There's still so much that's offered only virtually. So
Mm.
people have lost a lot of connection, and it is affecting us. We were not meant to be alone. We're meant to be connected, and it's impacted a lot of people.
We're social
in this
creatures.
age.
Yes,
Right.
that's
Exactly
the way it is.
so.
Um,
Exactly so.
Before you even said it, I was thinking it about premarital counseling. And it's my belief that that should always take place. Things
Yes.
are not discussed. And that's where, the road can turn down the road.
Hmm.
Even something as simple as the five love languages,
Oh,
just
yes.
I just on a basic level, just to identify what makes you feel good, what makes you feel good. If you don't know that, you're going to do what makes you personally feel good, but that's not the other person. Could be acts of service, one of the love languages. You could be that person who, I painted the house, I did the lawn, I did this, I did that. That's how I show you
And
I
it
love you.
didn't matter. Right.
And it doesn't matter because the other person's like, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Give me quality time. That's what I want, or affection, or whatever. But if you don't, even on a basic level there, if that's not established,
Hmm.
you really don't know the other person and what makes them tick.
And that's the biggest part of it. It is amazing how often people discover that, but I thought we were good friends. I thought I knew this person really well. Well, you did. But being their friend, being their girlfriend, and being their wife or husband are two very different things. Marriage is not the same as just being a boyfriend or girlfriend. There's a whole different expectation, just the commitment of it. Even you mentioned several very good aspects, just in knowing what I'm expressing to you when I do these things, the recognition that I'm looking for. And it must be so frustrating to give your all only to discover that's not what the other person's looking for. It
Right.
causes hurt, it causes bitterness, because while I'm doing, and I could not tell you how many times I have sat before couples, and the one person is saying, I buy anything that he or she wants. I give them gifts, I take them out, I do, and the other person's just sitting there, and it inevitably comes down to, did is that what that person's asking for? Because I'm hearing both sides. Do you hear what the other person's saying? What are they looking for? I said, well, I hear her saying she's looking for more time with you. You're giving her all these things, but you're not spending time. Well, I don't have time. Right.
Because I'm
But if
doing the other
the
stuff.
because I'm doing all the other stuff. But if the one thing I tell you I want is what you don't give me, then the eight other things you give me are not as relevant. You cannot, and this is something I say all the time, you cannot love somebody the way you want to love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. You
Or
have
the
to
way,
love
or
me
the
the
way
way
you
I
want,
need.
or the
Right.
way you want to be loved. You just assume
Right.
that's what the other person wants, but usually,
Exactly.
usually
It
it's
doesn't
not.
work that way. I
No.
need to be loved. I'm a touch person, right? My love
Let's
language
go
is
there. Let's go
touch.
there. Let's go there. What are
Yes,
your love? There's five, but let's go.
exactly.
Maybe your first, your top two or three. What would it be for you?
It is time, because I love spending time with people. It is speaking positive words, because I love to tell you why I love you and how much I love you, and touch. That is very important to me. I'm a very touch person. I think hugs show how much I love you. I think holding your hand, just reaching out, comforting to you, that
Mm.
is a very important love language to me. And if I don't receive that from you, then I don't feel like you love me. It's not connecting. And as it happens to be, my husband is a person of service. He does. He is a provider. He's that person. So when we first started seeing each other, I had a problem because
Mm.
he's not a hand holder and not, one to throw his arm around. And that used to say something to me. Why aren't you holding my hand? Is it because we're in public? Is it because you're not comfortable? All these things going through your mind.
Because
And
you
he's
don't
even
love me.
right. And when I did finally express that to him, he was like, if you wanted to hold my hand, why didn't you just say so? So simple. It was so
Yeah.
simple. But I didn't think it needed to be said. So again, lack of communication, of understanding who each other is, and at the most basic, what each person needs.
Mm.
Some people want to be followed up with a conversation when they argue, other people want to be left alone. Do you know what each other needs and how to respond to that? So,
It's okay. And for me, touch would probably be around number one. Um,
okay.
Words of affirmation, maybe
Yes.
acts of service. Last on the list is gifts. It just
Mm,
doesn't. Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't do it for me. I appreciate it, but it's like,
Absolutely.
you know, that there's much more important stuff in my mind than that.
Absolutely.
Centering on couples for a sec. Why do you think outside of communication, because it's always been said, well, that if you don't communicate, it's not going to work. Why do you think that a lot of couples break up or get divorced?
If we're centering on communication, and I like that you did that, I think many times we think conversation just means that we can talk for long periods on different subjects, but communication is deeper than that when it comes to marriage. It's being able to say the things that are hurtful to say, but
Mm,
it needs to be said, and being
mm.
able to hear it and receive it without getting defensive or pulling away from what we have. Many people would say we have strong communication. My husband and I, my wife and I, we can talk for hours about something. But then when one person is hurt or upset, now you're not talking. Where's the communication? That's what you need to have strong communication on, that you can say, we need to talk, and everything shuts down. TV off, phones down, you and I. And you need to hear me, not get defensive, not be ready to respond, not interrupt. Just hear me. Can you listen to what I'm saying bothers me without stating why what I did bothered you? It's not an attack, it's an understanding. I'm hurting and I need you to hear me. And many times that communication is what is missing, and it causes separation and division. And I feel like it can oftentimes lead to people who love each other separating because this person just doesn't get me. And it really just needed help listening to each other.
What do you do in a situation, Yvonne, where there's a challenge in a relationship? One person wants to speak about it to the other, and classic situation. The other's like, I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to deal with it right now. It's got to be dealt with at some
Mhm.
point. How do you deal with it? How do you suggest the couple deal with it at that moment?
I've actually had a couple, which is doing that. So for me, it depends on who the couple is, right? And I offer very many different solutions based on who they are. So if you're a couple who actually likes to spend time together, then I say, well, pick a time. Right? Pick a time where you're going to share with each other what you feel. You're just going to listen, and you'll take notes while the other person is talking, and then vice versa. And if feelings arise, if you've noticed that your shoulders are getting tense and you're not as receptive, then there's a pause. We need to stop. I said, but you don't stop with I just don't want to talk about it. No, you take a moment. You each agree in advance what you're going to do during that time. One person was going to go for a quick walk around the block, calm down. Another person was just going to go listen to some music. And then you come back and you start again. That's one way. Another way is to write a letter and give it to the person. We're not going to discuss it right now, but I need you to read it. I need you to receive what I'm saying.
Mm,
Think about it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Because in the moment, oftentimes you feel defensive because you feel attacked. So all of this is coming at you. So if you can't hear what I'm saying, then just receive it. Here it is, written down. Take it and then come to me when you're ready. But you have to agree to come to me. You cannot take what means something important to me and say you don't want to talk about it. If I matter, then we must address it, but we can do it in a way that's comfortable for both of us. And that's how I try to help, finding the comfortable way to do so.
love that. I think a lot of couples forget about writing it down. That
Yes,
doesn't mean that you're partly sweeping it under the rug, so to
not at
speak.
all.
You need to circle back to it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Final thought on that. Setting Intentionally setting a time to talk. So I get it. Somebody's unhappy. They approach their partner. Partner says, no, no, not right now. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not in the mindset. But you still can't just put it off. Setting an appointment. All right, then you don't want to speak about it. Can we look at tomorrow after dinner? We have a whole 24 hours after dinner. We good with that. Setting the appointment to do it. What do you think?
Setting an appointment to do it with purpose,
Mm,
meaning the only thing I would interject is, okay, I want to talk about this and this topic. So the other person is kind of prepared for it, right? This is what I want to talk about. What time would be good for you? Knowing what your day is. For some people, they're better in the morning.
Mm,
Let me get it out so I can get through the day. For other people, no, it's the evening. I've got a whole day, work, whatever life is, and I'm not ready until I come home, right? And you can agree to what that is. But I don't want to eat dinner because then I'm going to get tired. I'm going to want to lay down. I'm not open to talking. So
sure.
let's agree before dinner, but after we've come home and already relaxed. Like, don't meet me at the door when I still have work, my work purse on my shoulder. Give me a moment. So being purposed about it, this is what I want to talk about it. And if now is not a good time, you cannot tell me next week. You have to be purposed about it. But
Mm,
yes, because it's giving that person the respect of what they're feeling and their need to talk about it, but doing it in a way that doesn't make any person feel pushed
mm.
to do so.
It looks like respect on both sides because you're
Absolutely.
acknowledging, I want to do it now, but I want to hear you. And then
Right.
now it's on the other person to say, okay, thank you for respecting my feelings and time. And then let them set the appointment. Maybe put
Exactly.
them in the driver's seat. Do you feel that couples can break up or get divorced often because of unresolved situations in themselves that came from maybe their childhood? It's in their subconscious. They haven't dealt with it. And then it surfaces and triggers along the way. And then eventually it just goes bad.
So often there is unresolved. There are I heard a saying once. I want to say it might have been my pastor back in New York. Bitterness has a deep root, and it's not one that can be cut. It has to be yanked from the bottom, snatched right out, or else it springs back and it comes back at the worst times. There are so many unresolved issues oftentimes that people carry with them, right? What their parents did, their siblings did, household, past relationships, so many things they have not dealt with. And it's just a fact. Though ideally, a wonderful situation is two people who meet who don't have baggage, that's just not reality for most people. We come with a past and it has hurts and pains and all types of skeletons, and they are waiting to attack whatever's trying to come and might touch that kind of still tender wound. If you
Mm,
have not acknowledged it or dealt with it, this is going to be painful.
yeah.
But here's the thing, one part of that is acknowledging you're still dealing with that and being honest about it, right? It is not fair, and I've said this often, it is not fair to go in a relationship knowing you have pains you have not dealt with. You're not coming in honest with the person you're about to start a relationship with. And then on top of not coming in honest with those unresolved, you're not even honest with them about what you need or don't need. Setting conditions should be important in a relationship. And I hear oftentimes people saying, oh, love should be unconditional. That doesn't even make sense to me. It's neither biblical nor realistic. Conditions are necessary. There should be certain ways that you do not speak to me. There are certain ways you cannot treat me. There are certain ways we should not argue. There should be conditions on how I speak to you and how you speak to me, on the way we
Mm,
handle things. And another thing is thinking of a breakup as a negative. That's always the way, but sometimes a breakup is just a pause. We might be better friends if we realize when we come together that there are some unresolved issues and together it's not right. It might not be good right now. But if you go back to being friends, we're just going to pause, maybe be friends, maybe not be friends. But whatever it is, a breakup doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can just be, I realize I need some healing. It would be
mm,
ideal if you can do it together, but if you can't, you should not be in anybody's life to bring hurt. What are you here for if you're bringing hurt? Either deal with it or move aside and deal with it. You can always come back together. If you are still here and that person's still here, then maybe you come back stronger down the pathway a little bit. But don't stay and hurt and hurt and hurt. That's not fair. It's not even fair to yourself because joy is what you're intending in a relationship. And if you're not getting that, why are you there?
I feel sadly that many people don't know why they do what they do, not
Mhm,
aware of it, and how it connects to their childhood and
mhm.
their upbringing, their parents, and all of that. I see it all the time.
Absolutely.
We're out of time. I'd give examples. We're out of time. I love what you do, and I love the way you do it, Yvonne, because you are real. It's very clear. I feel your energy and your passion for what you do, and you're so not clinical in what you do. And it's
I've
actually
heard that before.
it's very refreshing. It feels like I'm speaking to a friend that's got experience
Mhm.
and one that is going to help you move things forward. You're not sugarcoating it, but you're being real, but it's not deep clinical and not robotic. It's like talking to a friend. Really cool.
Absolutely.
Mm,
While using techniques, if you're my client, there are certain techniques I'm going to use, be it from a cognitive perspective or a person-centered perspective or
sure.
a solution-focused perspective. Either way, I'm going to use the therapeutic techniques that I have, but it should always be about who you are. And at the basis, I'm just a friend who has a bit more education and a little bit of knowledge on how you can address some of these issues that you're dealing with. That's all therapy is. It's
Mm,
somebody that comes with knowledge to say, hey, come talk to me and then let me help you get a different perspective on things. People know how to fix their issues, they just don't know how to. So let me show you how. That's all this is. You give me, I'll throw out some things. Let's talk about it. What's realistic for you? Who's in your life? What are your resources? What are you comfortable with? And now set goals and go all the time. Let's move forward.
love it. And it can be done virtually as well, depending on,
Absolutely.
no matter where you are. How do we find you, Yvonne?
Oh, you can go to my website, candspg.com for Counseling and Shifting Perspectives group. Also, I'm on Facebook. And soon I will be on YouTube. So a couple of
Fantastic.
ways.
Wonderful talking with you today. Before we wrap it up, got to ask this question. You mentioned South Carolina, where you are now,
Mhm.
and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm not hearing an accent. And then you said something about New York. Where in New York originally from?
In Queens. I am a
Oh,
Queens girl, specifically South Side Jamaica, Queens. Yes,
well,
always.
you don't even have a New York accent either.
I do not, unless I get frustrated. Then you hear and I say, I got to talk to you when it gets
Ah,
real.
love
There
it.
you go.
And I'm from Long Island. So I'm here
All
now.
day long.
You're I don't know, a 30-minute train ride away from where I am. So I
Exactly
get it.
so.
Wonderful talking with you. Thanks for being here. Looking forward next time we get together.
Absolutely. Me too. Thanks so much,
Appreciate it.
Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.